It's done. I made it. I memorized the deck of cards under 60 seconds with a different technique, which I never used, the PAO system, the person, action, object. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just watch this video and all my attempts to achieve this 60-second time. Because when you start with a new system, you need to train it a bit. Some need more time, some less. I'm really happy that so many people guessed that I can do that in 10 or maybe 14 or 20 attempts. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I needed more time, and I think that's very common for me to need more time. And that was also the case here. So let's dive into that and watch my little video here. So this is attempt 1, and I will fast forward very soon, but for the first cards you see 3 at a time, and you see the first one is a person, the second one is an action, and the third one is an object. So I have, for each card I wrote down first a person, for each card I wrote down an action and an object. So it's an overall of 156 images, and I wrote them down first because I like to have it clear and fixed and written down somewhere, just starting with a system without having it very safe, or at least somehow safe in my mind. That doesn't really feel good. So the first attempt was 27 cards in 60 seconds, which was quite nice. So half a deck of cards in 60 seconds was definitely possible. And then I went for some more attempts on the first day of doing that on June the 2nd, and I skipped the events, which doesn't make any sense here. Because I had a lot of attempts between, which were very frustrating, like 14 cards, 12 cards, nothing at all, something like that. But that happens. That's the normal way how I usually improve. So to explain a bit more of this technique here. So every card is a person, every card is an action, and every card is an object. So for example, if I have the first card would be a firefighter, the second card would be the action climbing, and the third card would be a tree, for example, an object tree. So I would have a firefighter climbing a tree. And then I use the so-called memory palace technique. And if you're not familiar with that, just go ahead and maybe Google it, because it's a very familiar, very famous technique in memory sports. So this is already attempt number 16. You see, I skipped a lot of attempts here between 7 and 16. Nothing, no outcome between that. And sometimes it's really like that you have a longer streak of no improvements, but yeah, just try to get through it here. And you see I have some gaps here in attempt number 16, and this was a 33 cards. Then 28, again 12 attempts between. I'm not sure how many I got here, so but 12 between means a lot of failed attempts again. And I tried to use different journeys all the time, because what I also did was using the same journey over and over again, but that really didn't work. So use different memory palaces. 36 cards, then one attempt later, 29. I'm going to about 30, 39, 40 cards or something like that, memorizing, but I was still not able to go through the whole deck and see the images and memorize them. So in this attempt I get, how many do I get here? Let's see. It's a long attempt, you see. I tried to puzzle it together. 38 cards and one mistake here. Then attempt number 33. It's still the third day of my experiment here. And this was very interesting because I had a big gap in the beginning. This means 2 locations in my memory palace were empty. But what I really love about the system, if the gaps are not too big, it's very likely that you are able to close gaps here. That was quite nice. 39 cards. So then one day later, attempt number 38 already. So I'm far behind many of your guesses. Thank you again for that. But as I said, I need time. This was, it was very clear for all the cards here. There's one gap, but yeah, a gap shouldn't be a big problem here. And as you can see, I recalled 42 cards and I put in the last one in the last second. So 42 cards Then again a big gap and a day of a break. 7th of June was my birthday, so I wasn't memorizing anything there. And this is already attempt number 55. And I'm getting closer to the 50 here. 47 cards. And this is attempt number 64. And I think if you look at this, I'm going through almost all the cards. Not all the cards, but almost all the cards. I memorized 48 cards here in this attempt. And let's see, still some gaps here. Sometimes the person, sometimes the object, sometimes again the object here. And I was able to close these gaps and I am up to 48 cards. And then this attempt 80, again 2 days of break. Sometimes it's good to have a break. It refreshes your journeys and your brain. And I was able, finally on this day, I was able to go through all the cards. I've never done that before, but I forced myself, okay, from this point onwards, like at attempt number 70, I just go through all the cards, no matter if I'm safe or not. And this looked quite good for me, so attempt 80, I had several attempts before that, so I went for 52 cards, where I get a mistake here and there, and sometimes bigger mistakes, and that looked very good. So I figured that might be it. So attempt number 80, and I had 2 cards to go in the last second, and then 50 cards. 2 mistakes here and here, just swapped these 2 cards. But I knew that this is just 1 or 2 attempts away. And now, let's see, this is the final attempt. And I will tell you which number it was afterwards. And here I go in the normal speed. Now it looks really like slow-mo, doesn't it? So this is the normal memorizing speed for me at this point. After 10 days of training, this is the final attempt, more than 80 attempts. And I mean, for someone who is memorizing very fast in the past, it looks so slow. And it is not slow. I mean, memorizing a deck of cards under 60 seconds means 1 second per card, just a bit more than 1 second per card. So for memory athletes, especially for the top memory athletes, it's not the strongest and the fastest time. But for me, using a new system and starting really over again here was really a lot of fun. And yeah, and you see I still have 10 seconds left and 4 cards, and I somehow used a lot of time on the last cards, and then I stopped the time at 58.03. And there's no surprise right now for you, I will do that this time. And I was very happy when I finished that. I will fast forward this recall again, and you see, even if in this attempt I have some gaps here, 1, 2, 3 gaps already, 4 gaps and 5 gaps. Yeah, let's see how many gaps I will get here. 5 gaps so far, then a bigger gap here with 8 cards overall gaps, and then 8 cards left. But 8 cards are really not easy, but doable to figure out. And I had a bit of a time, not easy time here to figure that out, but in the end 52 cards at attempt number 83. So I needed 83 attempts to go through all the cards and memorize them correctly. I think nobody guessed 83, but I will figure out who guessed the closest to 83. I will continue this experiment. I hope I can do more, and actually I already did more. Today, for example, I had like 5 fails with empty locations everywhere, and that was really frustrating. But then I thought, okay, just go for speed, just don't care anymore about having anything correct here. My best time is 45 seconds, but just 38 cards. Let's see how that goes, and I will document everything and let you know. So thank you for watching, thank you for guessing, and see you in my next video. Keep on memorizing.